Thank you. And thank you, Marco. I have to share, my son, Jacob, actually loves Rubik's Cubes, and he started out on a 2x2, 3x3, and 4x4. So he and his friends, Alex, literally, it's magic. And the reason we wanted to incorporate magic today into this session is when you get fun technologies and puzzles and gaming and working together with people that love to work with each other, beautiful things come out, right? And part of solving puzzles and working together is about infusing kind of the next level of technology and next level of analytics and cognitive capabilities within workplace applications. So I'm really excited to share kind of how we're thinking about this. For a long time in the data and analytics space, we've really dealt with what I would say structured data, right? Data you put in a transactional system, you want to access customer or records, and you're doing business intelligence and query. And then all of a sudden, we sort of entered this new era where social data, data outside the walls of your enterprise, weather data, having business impact, whether it's disruption, whether it's around safety, being incorporated and mixed with enterprise data. We're actually entering kind of this third set, which is what data's about to come. I think we're starting to see it. Videos, new media, 3D media, virtual reality, augmented reality. It's all of this unstructured data. And the last mile of where we want to put analytics is actually the way people interact. And so what I'm absolutely excited about and what we're doing across the portfolio at IBM in the collaboration space is rethinking the way everyday professionals, individuals, and students work around the world, because we're going to infuse cognitive into the core applications everyone uses every day. Email, social networks, calendaring, messaging, and so forth. Now, when you think about a cognitive system, I'm going to go into this a little bit deeper. You know, it's systems that understand, reason, learn, but more importantly, interact and augment the way we think, and augment our ability to contain time and or expand our expertise. And let me give you more specific examples, because I know there are a lot of technology companies and clients that are embarking on cognitive. We're sort of at the early stages, but what I want to do is share with you today, along with my colleagues at IBM, how we're going to bring this to life. So, as you think about cognitive, there are two specific elements that we want to begin to embed in the experience that you're going to get out of our capabilities. So first, when you think about Watson, I think most people think about first the Jeopardy game, right? And then the second is how we've infused it in new applications such as Watson Health, where you're curating really a large domain and corpus of information around oncology, as an example, and treatments of disease. Well, you want not only great research, but you want to make sure that the recommendations coming out of that is guided experts, guided directions, offers answers. So now you can imagine in the way in which we're going to infuse cognitive in the everyday applications is to expose expert advisors. So think advisory services. The second area is in the area of virtual assistants and personal assistants. So today, how do you start to prioritize work? How do you take actions on things? And are there existing ways within systems, messaging systems, for you to simply surface not only specific tasks that could be routed automatically and processed automatically, but actually go one step further to proactively identify those and do them for you? So let me give you two examples to go further. So on expertise. Now, most expertise systems today are typically rules engine based, right? You connect to a community, you can connect to a research study, you can join not only groups, but join larger networks inside and outside your enterprise to learn. But it requires a tremendous amount of burden on the individual. When we talk about cognitive and cognitive experts, you can start to interact, talking, and so forth, and surfacing things like research, documentation, new approvals, and do it in a way that's much more interactive. Now, in the virtual assistant scenario, I think many of you have experienced not only Siri, maybe Alexa, a number of other applications. Most of those have been historically rules and logic based, where you declare and ask for a specific task, right? Read my email, play a song, order X from wherever you want in terms of retail stores. When you think about cognitive, though, you actually want to be able to understand in the context of the messages and interaction patterns that you have. So we're going to be embedding this in a number of places. So I'm excited about this is to be able to actually share and bring up 2 clients with us that are on this journey in terms of where they're embedding new capabilities, and what they're going to share is their journey around their applications of Workspace, but also some new announcements that they're going to talk about, and I'm going to come back to around Watson Work and Watson Workspace, in addition to IBM Connections, Verse, and our applications. So with that, first, please welcome and join me on the stage, Carl Fravel. He is the Director of Information Systems and Knowledge Management at Canal Barge. And the second is Brad Grissom, Senior Manager, Communication and Collaboration Solutions for Southwest Airlines. Gentlemen, please join me on stage. Thanks, Carl. Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay. Maybe if you wouldn't mind just starting with sharing a little bit about what your company does and how you're investing in this space in terms of technology and capabilities to really enhance your employee engagement.
Canal Barge Company is headquartered in New Orleans, but we have offices and equipment all over the middle part of the United States. We move barges with bulk cargo for our customers, everything from petrochemicals to pieces of oil refineries and oil rigs. And it's an outdoor sport. There's weather, there's risk. And so there's a lot of information we have to process about pricing, about dispatching, about barge allocation. And so we definitely deal with information overwhelm.
Yeah.
And so we have recently adopted Connections. We've been working with it for about a year. And that's giving us a new way to collaborate, but there's still so much information. So having Watson participate in that and help us find the right information that we might not have otherwise seen, it's very exciting.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing. And Brad?
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, so I think everybody's probably familiar with Southwest Airlines, the brand, but we really see ourselves as a customer service company. We just happen to load people into large metal tubes and shoot them in the sky and send them safely to their destination of choice. Our CEO, Gary Kelly, likes to say that the airline industry is the ultimate team sport. So my team, we help enable our employees to work better together. And part of how we're doing that, and you talk about our journey, we're kind of at the end of one journey and the beginning of another. So 4 weeks ago, we launched a new social intranet with IBM Connections alongside it to give our employees a modern mobile digital experience. So WebSphere Portal, along with Web Content Manager and IBM Connections, helping us lay a foundation for what we can do in the future. And that's the beginning of the next journey, is how can we now leverage this foundation, make it smarter, and enable our employees more.
Oh, that's great. You know, what's interesting is both of you have kind of different size organizations, but virtually spread out, some on water, some in the air, literally, some on the ground. How do you think about social interactions and real-time interactions in order to get work done? And how do you think about the technology that really enables that? And what are you looking for?
Yes. One of the things we do is deal with high risk and safety and environmental concerns. So there's a lot of training and a lot of inspections that happen in the field. And traditionally, you do that by filling out a clipboard, and eventually that paper makes it back to the office. With Connections, we are able to have one of our admins in barge maintenance create mobile-enabled apps simply by putting a spreadsheet in Connections that everybody could access in the field. And so they're doing that from their tablets now. And that, it came about in a few weeks.
And that helps, especially given the distribution of all your workers across the board.
Right.
And how about for you?
Well, we have a very diverse workforce. We have 50,000 employees, only about 10% of which are kind of at our headquarters campus. So the majority are out on the front line serving our customers every day. And we see about 100 million customers every year. So there's a lot of interactions there. And I think, finding ways that we can infuse cognitive into their applications, then we can make it easier for them to not worry about the applications, not worry about the systems, and truly focus on the customer that they're really there to serve.
So when you think about what's next, and you're here at the World of Watson, how are you thinking about infusing cognitive and analytics into not only these applications, but what you'd like to see in the future?
Yes, well, we're beginning some work with IoT, and there's going to be a lot of data coming in from that, and
Yes.
obviously we're going to need some cognitive assistance for that. But also at the level of interaction and decision making, having Watson contribute information to a conversation or a pricing or a barge allocation decision, information we might not otherwise see or even know that exists.
So all areas, IoT, Internet of Things is very hot, and probably interacting that with how to augment kind of user behaviors, right? And
Yep.
culture as well across
Right.
the organization.
This is all about culture.
Absolutely. Okay, Brad.
Well, we're all about culture as well at Southwest Airlines. So we have a lot of work to do. I think for us, because we've just launched a lot of new capabilities that our workforce hasn't ever had before. So adoption is truly one of the cornerstones that's ahead of us, and probably ahead of us all, I think. So good news is everyone's getting these great new things that are going to help with adoption of these new kind of tools. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They're called millennials. Some of you might even be one. And after them, with digital natives that have used technology their entire lives, I think it's setting a new bar for us where our employees are going to expect a higher level of application when they come to work. They're going to expect the same kind of tools that they have at home that they use in their personal lives. So I think we have options ahead of us of what do you use? Do you allow them to use the consumer applications? And that probably works for some people, some industries, probably small scale. Sometimes you may need to just cut those off, and in highly regulated industries, it's probably not allowed. But I think we need to bring enterprise-grade applications that are design and feature comparable to what folks use at home. We need to bring that to the enterprise to enable our employees. So I think Watson Workspace is a great example of what that's starting to look like. So I'm really excited for what's to come there.
Watson Workspace, I haven't talked about it quite yet. You guys are all in here getting a sneak preview as we go through the session. And when I think about adoption and also what Watson Workspace provides, but you think about connections and different audiences within your organization, how do you think about the cultural or behavioral changes and just overall enablement across your teams?
Yeah, I thank Ed Brill for mentioning opting in his fantastic book. You have to get executive buy-in to the concept, but you don't expect executives to be the early adopters of technology. So we've rolled out Connections, for example, at the grassroots level, and various teams adopted it more quickly. And then they had their aha moments and produced case studies that we used internally. And people see this stuff and say, I want that.
Yeah.
I can do that. So I think it's time. Time is an important element. It takes time for people to see the power of a new system.
Oh, sure. And probably also seeing how others and their colleagues share either stories or capabilities in terms
Right.
of what's changing.
Yeah.
And Brad, for you?
Well, I think the Connections, kind of line of thinking is really interesting. So we've only been live for 4 weeks, but we have had nearly half of our employees visit Connections over that 4 weeks. And some of those employees, they don't log on to the internet every day. They don't access systems every day. And so I think we're making good progress. I think there's definitely a lot of ground ahead of us as well, but just bringing those kind of capabilities to folks and not just the adoption, getting them there, but having them really adapt their work so that they stay and they learn from the successes of others. So that's key for us, is highlighting those wins throughout the organization.
So maybe one last parting thought for the audience in terms of any guidance or advice you want to leave.
Well, I think I'd say start now. So you see, Canal Barges at one place, Southwest Airlines at another, and all of you are at a different place in this journey. And but the thing is, we are all on this journey, whether we realize it or not. The future's coming, and I think folks like us, they're attending conferences like World of Watson, are the conduits to the future. So I think we got to get out there and bring the future to us.
Well,
And with any kind of technology adoption or change, there's a fear factor, and it takes time for that to change. But I think when people realize, oh, I can do the thing that's more human and let the machine do the thing that's tedious and repetitive and massive, I can have less overwhelm and make better decisions. Just give it some time, go through that process, and it works.
Yeah, freeing up your time and space to actually focus your attention on the things that matter most.
Right.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, let me just... Okay, in our portfolio, it's about infusing new capabilities to augment each one of us in terms of the direction we're headed. So I'm excited to announce our brand new Watson Work branding, which is about infusing Watson capabilities across all aspects of both IBM and IBM partner applications to really surface the way we want to interact in teams and surface the right content and expertise and moments within conversations. So today, for everyone in the audience and everyone viewing live stream, we are previewing IBM Watson Workspace and IBM Watson Work Services, which is our capabilities to enable team conversations to happen, as well as a Watson API service to infuse and for you to do summarization and new types of capabilities on your conversations and other application services and platform. We're going to actually show you these, but we want you to go onto any of the app stores via your mobile device or via your browser, and we're going to give you steps to do that. When I think about where we were just a couple years ago in our IBM portfolio around end-user applications, one of the new announcements we had at the time was Watson Analytics. We've recently announced IBM Watson Analytics Mobile, as well as IBM Watson Analytics Expert Storyboards. And these storybooks are really about augmenting your ability to discover new questions and new research areas. And so rather than me talk further, I actually want to show you several demos. So please join me in welcoming two of our experts. Luis Benitez, he's our IBM product lead for Watson Workspace, as well as Laura Rodriguez, the IBM senior designer for collaboration solutions. They're going to take us through a wonderful storyboard of all the new capabilities that we're going to be delivering. Thank you.
All right. So Laura and I work together, and today we're going to share a little bit as to how IBM Watson has transformed the way that we work. And we're going to start talking a little bit about time. Laura. All right.
Sorry.
Can somebody turn that off? Okay. So one of the things that happens is that throughout the day, we get a lot of interruptions, and there's a lot of information to process, a lot of tools to manage, and there has to be just a better way, right? And that's exactly what we're doing with IBM Watson Work. And our first new offering in this category is IBM Watson Workspace. This workspace brings together all of our conversations from messaging, chat, email, and even third-party apps. Now, typically to catch up, you will need to read hundreds, if not thousands of messages, especially when you have chatty team members, yeah? So, Watson understands this problem. And what it can do is, it can identify moments in the conversation. These are a bird's eye view that can help me summarize and give me, at a glance, a summary of the conversation. When I click there, notice what happens. Oh, see, magic. Now, I can see the summary of the conversation, the topics of what was talked about, the people that were engaged, the content that was shared, and even where the conversation happened.
And you want to emphasize here that these summaries are happening even though the conversations are in different tools.
Exactly. It's all coming together into a single place. Yeah, there we go. See? But wait, there's more. Now, not only is Watson summarizing the conversation for me, it can also highlight questions, actions, and even decisions that my team has made. So when I click on the decision, I can see what the decision is directly in context and get aligned with my team in seconds.
So Watson is clearly working for you, Luis, but are you going to tell them how it does that?
Well, Marco told me that a good magician never reveals their secret. But I like you people. IBM Watson Workspace is built on top of a platform that we call IBM Watson Work Services. And today, developers can start using these APIs to bring magic to business apps like CRM, HR, project management, anywhere where conversations happen. Imagine bringing this power to those apps. Now, it looks like I have some extra time.
Yeah, what are you going to work on?
Well, let me work on some sales report that you've been pestering me about, and I do that using Watson Analytics. Now, it comes with expert storybooks. These are kind of like, custom templates are built around specific business use cases. They help me digest the data, give me insights into the data, and I can even ask questions.
Yeah, I really like how it digests the information, and people like me can ask questions using natural language.
Exactly, and not only can you do this on the web, you can also do this on mobile using the IBM Watson Analytics Mobile. Now, the expert storybooks are available in the Analytics Exchange, which is kind of like an app store, but for analytics apps. And Laura, I think you're going to see some good news in your inbox very soon.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So I'll share how I also get to hang out with Watson, but in the tools I use most. So my day starts in the inbox, and this is where Watson gives me a bird's eye view of what's happened since I've been away, and actually has an opinion about what I should look at first. This is based on things like people who are important to me, urgency, my past behavior, and the list goes on. Now, when I turn on a Watson filtered view of my inbox, now everything is sorted by priority. And this first message that's most important to me is a notification from Box Relay letting me know that Luis here has hit a milestone with the sales report. You are always so quick, Luis.
You know why? Because I put Watson to work for me. See what I did there? Yeah. Oh, guys, you're tired. What's going on?
So with Box Relay, I don't have to sit through long meetings hearing people talk about what they did and how they feel about it. With Box Relay, I know exactly what my team has done and where we are in the process. So all I need to do is take a look, leave some comments, and approve it to complete our workflow. And this is a workflow we'll continue to reuse to keep the team really efficient. Mm-hmm. So I'm really happy to see that the sales report is moving forward, and now I want to know what's happening in my business. So I depend on my Enterprise Social Network homepage to get caught up on what's important. And just like my inbox, analytics are organized not by date and time, but by what's important to me. So this first card has my name mentioned, and there's an indication that there's an action. So I can take that action with one click in context. I don't have to navigate to another tool.
And this is an example of how we're using the IBM Watson Work Services and bringing them into other tools and other contexts.
Absolutely. And it's important to note, we're used to computers always getting things right or always getting things wrong, but cognitive is different. It learns the way that you and I do. So just like anyone learning something new, I build a level of trust with ongoing conversations. So in this case, I can see exactly why this blog post was elevated, down to the percentage of confidence. And if I confirm that, that means I'll see more things like that in the future. So it's learning my preferences. So you're getting a taste of what a digital workplace could look like with Watson Work. And I want to show you one more thing that I think is really cool. So this card I'm focused on has 22 comments. And even if I did have the time, I do not want to read all of that to get caught up. Instead, I'm going to apply analytics. This is where Watson is going to discover and summarize the collective conversation. So I see it pulled out that I was mentioned a lot, that the key discussion topics are sales process and forecasting, and Tone Analyzer is detecting a lot of fear in those comments.
It could be that they're just planning Halloween for next week, so.
Maybe, but we should probably go take a look.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you, everybody. And he?
This was just a sneak preview into how we're thinking about infusing cognitive and analytics into everyday applications such as email messaging, calendaring, and so forth. And we're excited because you're actually getting to preview today. So today, I'm encouraging everyone to try Watson Workspace. It is available as a preview for all attendees of this conference. And anyone that's watching live, the way you get access is you have to find someone at this conference that can invite you to this application and service. So that's a good test and requirement for everyone watching. So you can go download on the Apple Store or on Google Play. And for anyone on their desktops, obviously you can go to workspace.ibm.com. But the notion of being able to create these moments where you can summarize long conversations or create moments of time where you can then focus on the actual team interactions, this is where we're headed. By the way, when you think about work and getting work done every day, it's not just the IBM applications that you're going to be actually interacting with. You're going to be interacting with a number of ecosystem applications, your transactional systems, as I mentioned before, or even your Salesforce applications like CRM, or you think about new applications and services in terms of SaaS areas. So what's really important as we think about what we're bringing to market is that we're doing this together with a whole set of ecosystem partners and some of our most strategic partners helping to help you on your digital journey and also on your cognitive journey are Apple, Box, Cisco, and DocuSign in terms of the way we want to think through thoughtfully all of the integration points and surfacing your experience and how you're surfacing that also to your end users. So with that, let me also just close by saying, you know, this is a unique opportunity for us to actually hit sort of the last mile of analytics, putting it to use in the way people interact and work, and putting cognitive use to augment the conversations that we have. And by the way, we go from not only a typing and texting culture to a culture of conversations. So that's a little bit of kind of an early indication of where we're going to go next. And so please stay tuned. And at this point,